Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. In the glorious history of the reggae genre, we've seen many spectacular bands bless our hearts and eardrums over the past 5 decades. The staggering quality as well as quantity makes it virtually impossible to single out just one as the greatest of them all. But over the weekend, I found myself getting drawn into a debate over the ultimate reggae band, and at the end, we all agreed that the argument was of no use. It did, however, inspire me to imagine a group of elite musicians that would be handpicked from the greatest bands of reggae's golden era, plus one incredible producer that would bring everything all together. Such a band would boast of super elite hero instrumentalists and songwriters, plus one titan of a charismatic lead singer and frontman that would make up the greatest reggae band imaginable. Choosing the artists for this one was very hard to do, but let's take a look at my ultimate reggae dream team. Since reggae is primarily a drum and bass led sound, we must start with the rhythm section. Now on the drums for this band would be the spectacular Carlton Barrett. This maestro was the architect of the classic one-drop style that formed the template of reggae drumming that practically every reggae drummer has built upon over the years. Though celebrated mostly as the heartbeat of Bob Marley and the Wailers, he was the heartbeat of modern reggae itself, playing on tracks at the very dawn of the genre like Bangarang for Stranger Cole, Harry J's Liquidator, and Return of Django for Lee Scratch Perry. And while other drummers just played the drums, to Carlton Barrett, that instrument was an extension of himself. The man infused hypnotic African-influenced polyrhythms, emotional depth, discipline, and plenty of soul, all qualities that made him the archetype studied by modern reggae drummers till date. He would wield his magic on Wailers classics like Jammin' and Stir It Up, Tosh's Legalize It, and countless others. But where he blew my mind the most was on the classic track Augustus Pablo and King Tubby's Meets Rockers Uptown, a track on which he displayed an unparalleled and mesmerizing mastery of the drums with insane levels of technique and flair. Now next up would be the great Robbie Shakespeare on the bass. To complement Carlton Barrett's supreme licks, Robbie's hypnotic and melodic bass play would blend in perfectly. Mentored by the legendary Aston Barrett, he became one half of the Rhythm Twins with his friend and partner in Sly Dunbar, and after cutting his teeth with several studio backing bands, he rose to the next level as bassist with Peter Tosh's backing band Word Sound and Power, and then on to Black Uhuru. Robbie's style of play was soulful, funky, deeply creative, and technically flawless. His bass lines were always powerful, and he would emphasize that instrument as much more than just a backup to the entire band, but instead more of a melodic powerhouse. But his technical giftings and skills aside, this fantasy band of legends would be given a boost by his commanding, charismatic, and entertaining presence that was always a delight to watch. Now combine his phenomenal sound with his colorful showmanship and you have yourself the ultimate bassist for the ultimate reggae band. On rhythm guitar, no one else gets that spot but the great Ernest Ranglin. For a reggae super band, why not have the guy who invented the offbeat skank rhythm in the first place? A rhythm guitarist provides a steady harmonic and rhythmic backbone for the whole band to follow that locks in perfectly with the drums and the bass, something this legend knows more about than anyone else on the planet, since he pioneered what became known as the skank guitar rhythm on the first Coore record in 1956. He's mentored countless legends and played on countless classics in more than 7 decades. From mentoring the Scatterlights to being the first music director at Coxsone Dodd Studio One, acting as Jimmy Cliff's mentor and leader to his band, to arranging the Wailers' first hits, among other accolades. Though a humble man, Ernest Ranglin's massive experiences would make him the leader of this ultimate lineup, as he would literally pull the strings, quietly orchestrating and coordinating this super elite squad, who would definitely leave their egos at the door and let him lead this super band. Now on lead guitar, you would need none other than the super lightning fingers of Coore. While a rhythm guitar player provides structure, a lead guitarist adds color and flair as well as melodic phrasings and dazzling solos. Something this classically trained guitar player did with devastating results for 5 decades as a member of Inner Circle and his own band Third World. Very early in his career, he was a rock fan and would later on channel that foundation into his reggae chords in ways that made his guitar sing with an electric super energy that shined through on recorded material and even more powerfully in live performances. From his unforgettable solo in the track 96 Degrees in the Shade or his masterclass solo in Try Jah Love. Also a consummate showman, he would be a delight on stage, not to mention his phenomenal voice that would be perfect as a backup vocalist for this super band. Now on percussions, who else than the greatest and most decorated percussionist in the marvelous Uzziah Sticky Thompson? Though terribly underrated, the percussionist plays a phenomenal role in any band, and though heavily overshadowed by the drums, the percussions add spice, energy, dynamics, and accents that fill out the band's sound big time. And if you're talking about expertise and experience, look no further than this icon who was the master of the congos, the tambourines, the cowbell, and all in between. The man played on numerous all-time classics, like almost all of Black Uhuru's albums, 2/7's Clash by Culture, almost all the albums by Peter Tosh, The Wailing Souls Firehouse Rock, several Jimmy Cliff albums, Heart of the Congos by the Congos. I mean to say, this man played for everybody. So for the ultimate reggae band, he definitely would be the guy I would pick to play the role of percussionist. Now for keyboards, I would pick none other than the genius called Jackie Mittoo, a gifted multi-instrumentalist and maestro, widely regarded as Jamaica's greatest keyboard player. In terms of pure skill, he's regarded, alongside Ernest Ranglin, as the greatest musical mind to emerge from Jamaica. In fact, after Ernest Ranglin moved to the UK, Jackie took over as the musical director at Coxon Studio One at the very beginning of 1960s, while barely out of his teens, the very peak of the ska era, when he played on and composed countless classic instrumentals, including the Wailers' breakout hit, Simmer Down. For what would be the ultimate band, I would harness his famous funky style, complete with his brilliant keyboard swirls and patterns that turned every track into a swaggering, skanking tune that made ska and rock steady such a wonderful genre of music for the steppers. And he was the idol of every great reggae keyboardist after him, from Robbie Lynn, Dickie Sterling, and Wailers member Tyrone Downey. Now before we name the lead vocalists and frontman of this dream ensemble, we must give a shout out to the producer who I believe will get the very best out of them. For such a group of heavyweights, you need someone with a big personality, with insane skills in the studio, sonic vision, creativity, and definitely a heavy touch of the eccentric all rolled into one. And the only person who ticks all the boxes on this one is none other than Lee Scratch Perry. Combine the upsetter with all these musical giants, and what you would get is epic sound, song after song. Now for the most visible and some say most important member, who is the very face of every band in lead singer, the great Bob Marley will definitely be the guy. While making this list, the great Dennis Brown was at first my preferred leading man, and for good reason too. He was a far superior singer than Bob Marley ever dreamed to be. But the qualities of a band's frontman don't just stop at singing, mind you. To lead such a magnificent band, such a person would need vast amounts of charisma, leadership, energy, a connection to the audience, and powerful emotional delivery behind every lyric in ways that bring color and life to every song. I love Dennis Brown, but based on these parameters, Bob Marley takes it by a mile. On stage, this man was a force of nature, with his incredible skanking and the way he turned every performance into something almost religious for his audience. As a songwriter, he was a master at his job, with lyrical depth on every topic from spirituality, love, down to rebellion. And though Ernest Ranglin would be the quiet boss of this group, Bob would be his second in command and the guy to inspire and rally the troops. And lastly, his spiritual and cultural impact would be the icing on the cake for this band. As the global ambassador for reggae, Pan-Africanism, and Rastafari in general, the very guy born for the role of ultimate frontman of the ultimate reggae band. I couldn't think of a name for this group, so let's have yours in the comment section below. And that was my ultimate reggae dream team. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.